Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Andrew Stott, I'm the Emperor of Stomaria, and today I want to give a quick tour of Southwood. So as many of our supporters and citizens will know, Southwood is a Stomarian territory, it's a Stomarian province, and we actually purchased this from the Kingdom of Wayward last year. And the Kingdom of Wayward, as many people will know, a member state of the Empire of Stomaria. So when the actual exchange happened, not a lot took place because the territory was already considered a part of the Stomarian Empire. But now that it is a Stomarian territory, it's a Stomarian province, we are utilising this in a far more direct way. As before, because it wasn't our land, it wasn't privately owned by the imperial family, we, didn't have much involvement in the actual governance or maintenance of that land. But now that has changed, and it is a Stomarian territory, it is a Stomarian province, we are now utilising it. Just across the border, over there, just behind those bushes, is Wayward South. But I think they have actually renamed that Southwood as well. Rather confusingly, but I think it's just to try to simplify things, because Wayward South and Southwood are already very closely linked in terms of the actual name, and there is no real boundary between these two territories. There is a legal boundary. If you look on any map at the registry office or whatever else, you can see a line going through the land here. But because Wayward and Stomaria are obviously one and the same in the sense that they form a part of the Empire of Stomaria, there is no need for any kind of boundary or border patrols or anything like that. But I did just want to go through what we have been doing at the Woodlands since it became a Stomarian territory. And I have made a progress report about this a little while ago, I think it was maybe a week or two ago, as to what we've been up to. I give a very brief update on that. But because I'm the only one at the Woodland at the moment, I thought it would be a good opportunity just to walk through the entire Woodland, both the Waywoodian side and the Stomarian side, and just to run through what exactly has been happening, what we've been doing, and all the rest of it. So with that in mind, let's get started. So as always, this is the entrance, and here is where we're just collecting all of the debris, all of the waste. We're just gathering it all up, and it's all going to go into the skip. It's all going to go into a van, it's all going to go to a recycling centre or a dump or whatever else, and we're going to try to get rid of as much as possible. Now, down here is still what we would call like a great causeway or a great roadway going through the actual woodland, and that leads to a communal area on the Waywoodian side of Wayward South, or Southwood as it's now called, but I'll get to that in a moment. Over here is obviously still the fairy garden, which is a Waywoodian area, I suppose. It's something that is on the Stomarian side, if you like, but we wanted to leave this here because there are a lot of ornaments and tributes to people and pets, which we thought we could just leave, because there's no real reason to disturb it. It's not taking up too much space, and it's a very nice feature which I think people will like to see as and when they walk through the woodland. When they come through the gates there, they can see the fairy garden in all of its glory, especially when the sort of bulbs all start to come up in time, because there are a lot of bulbs in here, and hopefully in the coming months we'll be able to show some photos of those. So walking down this causeway, now the reason that we held, or will be holding, the Imperial Summit in June is because wet weather has a nasty habit of turning this particular part of the pathway into slurry. And so what I think we're going to be doing is we're going to be scraping a lot of this up, and we are going to be replacing it with hard standing, just to make sure that if it does rain at the Imperial Summit in June, then it's not going to be as adverse as it would otherwise be. Now here obviously we have the orchard. Now these were established before it became a Stomarian territory, before it became a Stomarian province, but as you can see, they're all starting to show some green, and you have plums and cherries and all sorts of things in here, and so that's a fantastic addition to the actual territory, the actual woodland. The pig is not real, for those who are wondering. As you can see, just more trees in the orchard, more cherries, more plums, and all the rest of it. So that's that little aspect of the Stomarian territory. And here is where we've begun to establish raised beds. Now, for those who don't know, and for those who are following us, they probably will already know, we are establishing raised beds for all of the Stomarian citizens that join us, and because we are allocating each citizen with a 1 square meter plot of land with a raised bed on it, that is what these are. Now, I do obviously have a lot more beds to establish, and hopefully I'll be doing that in the next few weeks. It's just a question of time on my part, because the idea is that Stomarian citizens will be basically allocating the work, the donkey work, to the governor of each territory where their plot is based, because Stomarian citizens are quite far afield when it comes to the actual location of citizens compared to where the territory is. And so the governor of the territory has to manage their plot on their behalf. And the governor at the moment is Princess Eleanor. And so the de facto governor is obviously me. And so it's just down to me to come down here and to establish these beds and start planting, which is what I've done so far and will continue to do. This here is the remains of the Hugel bed, which again was here long before Stomaria purchased the territory. But we are still utilising the soil for our raised beds, as well as compost and topsoil and all the rest of it, which we are bringing in just to make the soil a bit more friendly to the plants that we are planting. This here, the chicken pens, these are still being deconstructed. There are a few chickens and a few ducks in here, which are still to be rehomed and rehoused. They are not going very far. I believe they're just going over the way there, which I'll show you in a minute. But this is all going to be going. And this is one of the reasons that we're holding fire on getting rid of the tools, equipment, and old debris, which is mounded up and is gradually mounding up around the entrance, because we just want to get everything in position where we can just rock up with a van or a skip or whatever else, just load it all in and get rid of it. So all of this will go, and it will really tidy up the woodland. It will make it look very sleek and professional. And in its place, we are going to be establishing a little palisade, a little fortification, which I'm very excited to be building. I'm sure Eleanor will love it as well. And I think it's going to be a very nice feature of the woodland. Just as an aside, we are currently looking at potentially getting some sort of shepherd's hut on the actual woodland. We're still making inquiries as to what the process is with that. There are various planning permissions and requirements and certain conditions, which I think we probably do meet. And so we're just inquiring about that now, but potentially we will be having shepherd's huts on here, which means we'll be able to stay for short periods, which will be another step in the right direction in terms of having a province, a territory, which we can utilize to its full capacity. Now, following the road down, we have, as you can see, bonfire, the the Wayward Workers Union, I think they're called. They have stripped a lot of the wire, obviously, from the chicken pens and elsewhere. And rather than take the wood off, I think the idea is just to burn everything and then pull out the wire and send it to the scrap man. And that is the plan on that front there. Following the pathway around here. And this pathway, I think, is broadly speaking, roughly the boundary. I think it does come a little bit further into here, but I think this is roughly where the boundary is for those who are interested. And as you can see, it's more chickens, more ducks. And then there is a play area down here. Now this play area is going to stay for the time being. We might tidy it up, we might add a few features or take away a few features. But again, for the children of citizens that come here, it's just a little area which they can play in if they so wish. I can't vouch for its safety necessarily, but we are going to tidy it up, spruce it up, and just make it a little arena for them to play in if they so wish. But to be honest, the entire woodland is something that a lot of the children do enjoy. I know Eleanor in particular does enjoy it, especially when it's sunnier, warmer, and a bit drier. She's a bit adverse to mud at the moment, but she's doing very well in helping us prepare the beds and doing little bits and bobs around the woodland. Now, the Waywoodians have done exceptionally well over the last few months. They have cleared out this entire area and changed it into an ideal communal area. And this is where the gatherings are going to be held for the Waywoodians, but also for the Imperial Summit in June. Now, sorry, there's a chicken. The chickens over here have already been rehomed. And I believe the other chickens and the ducks are either temporarily or permanently going to be homed over here. But we'll just have to see how that all pans out, because it's only going to be temporary, or it's going to be extended to allow for the number of chickens and ducks that they have. So over here they have actually very proudly displayed some of their potatoes, which I think are grown in there. Yep. So this is King Raoul's latest experiment, basically a kind of a greenhouse, I suppose, for the potatoes, and it seems to be working well. So we'll look forward to seeing how many potatoes they sort of pull out of there. But yeah, this is the kind of communal area which has been established, and it's really fantastic. It really is. Just having a look around, wandering around the woodland, and just being able to imagine what it's going to be like once we get everyone here, the Waywoodian citizens and Stomarian citizens and invited guests, and we're going to be here for a few days, and we're just going to have food, family, and fun activities. You know, it's going to be a really good affair, and I'm really looking forward to it. Over here is where they're actually doing some logging by the looks of it. So this wasn't here last time I was here, so this has been fully established now. They've obviously been sawing away on the old sawhorse there, and going to be hacking up the wood and seasoning it for use later on. But yeah, I mean, I don't want to ramble on too much, and I suppose there is more to the woodland I could show you, but the overview, I think, is basically what I wanted to cover here, just to give you a brief rundown of where we're at, what we're doing, and what we're hoping to do going forward. You can see the Waywoodian and the Stomarian flags there. Not quite flying in the breeze, can't quite get that high at the moment, but once the wind picks up, it'll flutter, I'm sure. But yeah, so this is the Stomarian and Waywoodian territories. They do go a little bit further down there as well, but again, there's just sort of a woodland walk, which I won't bother showing. But yeah, this is all coming together, and it's all fantastic to see. And between Waywood and Stomaria, we're really making strides. We're really doing what we set out to do. We're becoming that much more self-reliant, and we're attaining greater levels of self-determination just by being here, just by doing what we're doing, by establishing the raised beds, growing our own produce, housing the chickens, actually using the land that we own for communal events. This is all something that we're very proud to be able to do. And the citizens of our respective nations, they are helping to make that happen. And we're very appreciative of that. So if you did want to become a part of the Stomarian community, then please feel free to become a citizen through our Patreon campaign, the link of which I shall leave in the description below as always. But otherwise, if you did enjoy this video, then please feel free to give it a like, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and we'll catch you in the next one.